Alrighty, welcome back to our series on recording, composing a music Conrete piece using Audacity. We are going to take a little bit of a tangent right now and take a look at the software Spear. Spear is a software, it's freeware, and it's neat because it does some analysis. Excuse me. And so what we can do is we can bring in a file. You can see I already have the software open, and we can bring it in a file and it will do an analysis and it will give us the frequencies in sine waves in this graph here. So let me do that right now. Let me open up our metal bowl. Now when you first open it up, you're going to get this selection right here where we can make some settings changes. The frequency resolution, this sometimes I believe it does an analysis initially before, just a quick one to see what it should set the analysis frequency to, and that will help to the program will do an analysis and give you a good playback version of your sound. Now if this is not going to play back the sound exactly how you recorded it. It is going to synthesize what you recorded. So it's going to go through the file, look at the sine waves that it can see, and then it's going to try to reproduce what you recorded with sine waves on the screen. So it's not going to be exactly what you heard. And so by changing this frequency resolution, you can get a different result, and it may be that you have to experiment on finding the right frequency ratio to get the result that you're looking for as far as it being more accurate to what you recorded. And then here we have start time and end time. If you know you have a long file and you're looking specifically for 5 seconds in to 7 seconds, you just want 2 seconds of it, you can plug in those numbers here and it will give you just what you wanted in the file. And then finally, in this threshold for a minimum and amplitude thresholds, if you know that you don't want a certain amount of sound, you can set these differently as far as it may overlook certain things. If it's too soft, it won't include it. But you can always include everything and then use the program to sculpt the sound the way you want, which is another function of the program. So let's go ahead and analyze that. Now we see it popped up a new window. The nice thing about these controls is that we can move them around and get them out of the way or closer in depending on what we're wanting to do. So I'm going to bring this cursor, display tighter in to here so you can see what's going on. As I move my cursor around, it's giving us information. It's showing us the time, where our cursor is located on the timeline down here. As I move it back left to right, it's changing how many seconds it's reading out. It's also telling us what frequency we're pointing towards. So for example, if I click right on this line here, it is showing me that that's 88 Hertz. So this fundamental tone is approximately 88 Hertz. It's not exacting. I could zoom really tight in and then I could get a more exact frequency, but it's giving us kind of an idea of the frequency that we're looking at right there with the cursor. These other two displays, the key number and the note, are related to music notation or MIDI notation. The key number is talking about the MIDI key. So for example, I know that middle C is 60 on the keyboard, so that I know that this key number here then is saying it's key number 43.5, 44 now. So this MIDI note is approximately MIDI note 40 or so, and the note G2. And this is a G2, G5, those are different octaves, the note G and different octaves of where they are in the, like on the piano or in the music notation staff. So that is what this box right here is displaying. Now the other thing that these other controls over here are the playback controls, specifically for the speed, the pitch, the volume, and the noise level. Now, when you change these for playback, it's not going to alter the sound. Excuse me, it's not going to alter the data here. It's not going to change the information. It's just going to play back differently. So for example, here's if I play back the sound as it analyzed it. You can hear that it basically sounds pretty much exactly like the initial sound that we recorded in Audacity, the metal bowl. If I play it back, say at 8 times speed, now this sound is almost 19 seconds long, but it's going to play back the whole thing in just a matter of a few seconds. Okay. Now it didn't change anything. It just played it back a little faster. If I do that at 4, it'll be twice as long now, or about 8 seconds. So I'm not changing any of the data. Okay. That is just what we hear in playback. Okay. This will change the pitch. This reads out in semitones. Okay. So like half steps on the piano, the white key to the black key, or frets on a guitar, half steps. Okay. So this is 1 semitone. This is 2 semitones. Okay. So the first pitch we heard was do. Now when I play this back, it should be about re. Okay. And then if I do another 2 semitones up, it will be mi. So on and so forth. Again, it's not changing the data, it is just changing the playback. This will change the volume of the playback. Be very careful if you have this set too high. This could blow your ears out if you're wearing headphones, or your speakers if you're listening over speakers. So be very careful with the volume level. We know that this was recorded at -6, so we do have some headroom, but I certainly would not want to play this back and add 24 decibels. That would distort, and it could actually harm my ears. I'm wearing headphones right now, so I'm not going to play it back at plus 24. I will do plus 6 because I know that will be 0 dB, and it still may be too loud. But again, it's just the playback volume. So if you're listening to something and you want to hear it a little bit louder because it is softer, you can use that to help you. Just make sure before you go back and set it back to 0 so that you're editing and don't hurt yourself and hurt your ears. And finally, this is noise. It's just going to add some white noise to the sound. Okay, and twice as loud. So you can hear it's adding that white noise to the sound, and it is following the same decibel level, the ratio of the amplitude of these frequencies here. So we can control the added noise, and this is useful if you're going to bring this into a sampler and you're going to play with it some more. It gives you an idea of if you add some other colors to it, distortion or feedback and that kind of thing, you can get an idea of what that might sound like in altering it with other audio software. All right, and the final thing that we want to look at, we talked a little bit about this display here. You can see what the frequencies are. The other thing we can see is when we select different sine waves, it becomes red. So this is the only thing selected, and if I were to do different functions, it would just affect that one line right there. If I hold shift and click this one, now those 2 will be affected, and so forth, these 3. I will show you these other controls in the next video. The last thing for this is you can tell that the amplitude is higher on this end and it is lighter or lower on this end because the color of these lines are dark to light. So darker represents higher amplitude or louder volume, and lighter color represents lower volume or less amplitude. And again, that we know that this sound it starts with a louder sound, and then it resonates for a long time and decays gradually along that whole line. So we have almost nothing down here. Now we can see at the end of the sound here we have all this other sounds, but they're very, very light in color, so we really don't hear that. And that could represent room noise. For example, the computer fans going in the room that I recorded the sound initially. Some of these other frequencies that appear like they're being added in, again, is more likely that it's because the bowl is less in volume now. The microphone was able to pick up these other room noises, and that's what you're seeing there. So if you have that situation, you can clean these up, and that's what we're going to use these other controls for. So we'll take a look at these controls a little bit in the next video.